Today I would like to talk about broken octaves, which is an issue that comes up constantly in my studio and I think in everybody else's studio. I'm going to explain it from the point of view of rotation because we always talk about alignment and coordination. This part is moving together and we have motions to get across quickly and accurately. So a broken octave is basically a large distance trill. You know, when we have a trill, the way we talk about it, it's left, right, right, and this is a little bit larger, gets smaller. You hardly see it, but it's still there. And there is no feeling of pulling, of isolation, and it goes very quickly. Now, rotation also always includes walking hand and arm, which is the aspect of going down and across. So rotation is the turning. The rotation is very quick and it brings the arm with it. So as we get larger, let's say if I'm starting down here. So again, left, right equally. As we go into greater distances, there's a little bit more of the cross, the arm moving at greater distances from one finger to the next. So the rotation initiates the motion of the arm swinging across like this. I'm going to go to the top camera so that you can see. So I'm starting here, left, right. So what you can see, if you just do it through the rotation, it feels very static, you know, and the rotation is too big. But when I initiate, this is the preparatory motion that sends me across. Let me do going this way. This is large. This becomes a little bit smaller. In other words, there's a little bit more of that. But doing it together with the rotation, each movement minimizes the other. So this is one thing. Now at the same time, what you don't see, my torso is moving a little bit to the left, because in order to be able to support, to have the forearm feeling that it's really there, I can't sit in the center. So I'm moving, and that's something I discussed in one of the previous sessions here on YouTube. So I'm here. Now what happens when I go to the D? Now what happens when I go to the D? The rotation continues being left-right, but notice that my arm now is over the D. As I keep going, every time I go to the fifth finger, my arm starts at a slightly different place, a little bit closer to the body here. I don't go any more back here, I go back here. It's a 7, the distance of a 7. Same thing when I go to the E flat, my forearm is over the E flat, same thing here, same thing here. So the Taubman called it the walking hand and arm because literally it's walking with you. And the combination of rotation and the walking hand arm is a winning one. It's a winning formula. You can go very quickly and always be there. Notice my body is here. Now, there's another issue. So you see that it's white keys. So very often when I work on it and people begin to feel good, they go into the passage and they get a little bit tired. And often the tiredness is the fact that these two fingers are going to the black key area. So it can't be a surprise. It can be here and suddenly you move this way. That sudden movement is very tiring. So when I do this, I'm not going to do every note, but let's say the measure that goes to the D. See, the rotation, walking hand and arm is there, and I'm also moving closer to the black key area. I'm there. Now I'm moving out a little bit, but not too far out, because I'm really going again So this is, here is, you see that technique is always a combination of motions. You have the rotation that brings the walking hand and arm with it, and in and out. So here, this is very gradual, and again, my forearm is adjusting every time I go to a new note. Okay, one of the things that another thing that gets in the way, when you're going up, this is an octave, this is a seventh. You can feel connected, it's a smaller distance, but when you go to here, suddenly there's a larger distance. So what the instinct is just to pull over, and that's when tension begins to set in. You know, a lot of what's in technique, as you probably know by now, in the correct technique, and what Taubman found is counterintuitive. You go, in order to go to the left, you have to go first to the right. You need a slightly larger preparatory motion. And I will show it a little bit bigger. So this is all you need here, but to go to the F sharp and not to miss, you need you have to go more to the right to go back to the left. Otherwise, you're stretching and pulling. So in the end, you hardly see it because the little bit of more is very, very little. But there, now and here, it's even more. So that's another place where the arm suddenly moves and people get very tired. So here are the different movements that take place and the body adjusts as we do it. Another thing to watch out for when people play octaves in general, and definitely broken octaves as well, is that the second finger tends to often stretch over. This is what it looks. This is not a twist. So when I'm moving up, the hand is moving like that. The fingers are not, preparing to go over. That often is a problem with octaves. So as I move up, you see, it's especially the second finger that separates. So I would watch for that. I also would watch that those four fingers feel this way, feel together. That they're not straight and they're not curled. It's just the natural shape of the hands. People who know the subject of grouping will know that when we have something goes on and on, that after I would say 4 notes or definitely 8 notes, the feeling of starting again, it's not an accent. It's a feeling that I did this and again this and again. It's organizing it into smaller groups so that the brain can be able to control the playing. When we go over many notes, it's like speaking without breathing. You go out of breath and you can't talk. So it's the same, or at least once a measure, just a start. Starting again. I'm just throwing it in as something that can be also very helpful when you go into speed. So that's all for this one. And in the next session, I will show another example of the broken octaves in a couple of more pieces. Thank you for watching.